City Council of Temple City to order for November 7th, 2023. Madam City Clerk, may we get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Sternquist?
Here.
Councilmember Vizcarra?
Here.
Councilmember Yu?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Chavez?
Here.
Mayor Mann?
Here. Next, I'd like to ask our city attorney to report out from council's closed session.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The council was briefed on the real property negotiations regarding 5003 Sereno Drive. At the end of the briefing, the council gave unanimous direction to the city manager to cancel escrow if the seller fails to perform the seller's duties as of the due date for close of escrow, and gave direction to pursue such other actions or remedies as the city would need in order to close the pending code enforcement case on the property. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. Next, we have the, if we could all please rise for the invocation. Tonight, Mayor Pro Tem Chavez will provide the invocation.
Thank you, Mayor Mann. Please join me in prayer. Loving Heavenly Father, we come to you this hour asking for your blessing and help as we are gathered together. We pray for your guidance in the matters at hand and ask that you would clearly show us how to conduct our work with a spirit of joy and enthusiasm. Give us the desire to find ways to excel in our work. Help us to work together and encourage each other to excellence. We pray for a peaceful resolution to the conflicts in the Middle East and throughout the world. Please continue to watch over our first responders and city staff who work so hard to make Temple City a safe place to live. As we approach Veterans Day, please continue to watch over our veterans and their families. We also ask for your blessings for our friend Jerry Jambazian and his family. Please help keep us in their prayers. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen. For the pledge, I'd like to ask our city attorney, Mr. Greg Murphy, to lead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Please join me in saluting the flag of the United States of America.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tonight, we have no ceremonial matters, so we move on to public comments not listed on the agenda. We have Mr. Steve Stafford.
Mayor Mann, Mayor Pro Tempore Chavez, council members. Even though I've been very busy, on my street and in the neighborhood, we've had some very serious problems occur. And if we don't get this under control, it's going to get worse. We have people that drive very recklessly, like this city's a racetrack. They hit vehicles and take off like they did mine. I got a red spot on the center of my bumper where I went to make a right turn to get into my track from Barella, from Broadway. This lady pulled on the wrong side of the street at a high rate of speed, hit my car, and it just kept going. This is not the first time this has happened. And, you know, if we don't get that under control, about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, somebody launched a mortar rocket in the air. Mortar rocket is very dangerous. If none of you believe that, then I'll bring you pictures of my uncle, my mom's second oldest brother, that got hit by a shrapnel from a mortar rocket. My family knows all about that because my mom had to go see her brother in a veterans hospital for the rest of his life. And you can't have these people launching this stuff in the air. They set off sticks of dynamite. They set off anything they want, and it's out of control. I don't think anybody should tolerate a mortar rocket, and I'm not the one that called it that. A friend of mine nearby where it was launched by St. Luke's School called it that. That's what I thought it was, and you know, you got shrapnels in somebody's backyard. This is something that if we don't control it, we don't control these people, they're going to control us. And I don't want that. I'm tired of this. We get parties like last Saturday, there was a party that they were auctioning who knows what. The sheriffs came over there in a helicopter real low trying to get these people. They just don't stop. We've had shots fired in my neighborhood a month and a half ago. I called, it was at midnight, the deputies came over, they were very nice. They tried to find these people, because they get a lot of calls on this stuff, like the motor rocket, they had 250 calls. Everybody calls. Whenever there's shots fired, they get calls. Shots fired or large caliber fireworks like quarter sticks of dynamite set off, they call. And it's just out of control. I'm tired of dealing with it. One of the reasons I didn't show up at a couple of the council meetings because I was too scared to drive. It scares the hell out of me. I have these people just racing by me and almost hitting my vehicle. What goes? This is not the way they're supposed to be. And I found something out in San Marino in their local newspaper. They published an article about just what I'm telling you. They had a 250% increase in accidents and hit and runs. Other cities around have had the same increase. I would like to know how I can get the records for Temple City and see what the increase has been in the last year. It would be interesting to see. Thank you.
Thank you. So anyone else would like to address the council at this time? All right, seeing none, I will close public comments. We move on to consent calendar. All items may be approved in a single motion unless anyone would like to pull an item for discussion. Yes.
I was looking for the number, the one about the Camellia Festival.
E.
E. Would you like to pull E?
Yeah, just make a comment on it from Dawn.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I guess,
Motion to approve items on the consent calendar other than item E.
Second.
all right. We have a motion and a second for all items except E. May we have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Sternquist?
Yes?
Councilmember Vizcarra?
Yes.
Councilmember Yu?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Chavez?
Yes.
Mayor Mann?
Yes. All right. So 7E, Councilmember Sternquist?
Yes, she texted me just prior to the meeting asking if I would just let the council know that she had planned to come, and she very much appreciates the support, but she has a 94-year-old aunt who fell, and she's at the hospital with her.
Oh,
Who was that?
Dawn's aunt.
Don Tarrant.
Yeah, Dawn Tarrant.
Okay. All right. All right. Thank
Motion to approve item E.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Can we get a roll call vote for that, please?
Yes, Mayor. Councilmember Sternquist?
Yes?
Councilmember Vizcarra?
Yes.
Councilmember Yu?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Chavez?
Yes.
Mayor Mann?
Yes. Next, public hearing, we have none. Unfinished business, we also have none. We move on to new business, item 10A, considering upcoming city council regular meeting schedules. So we'll start with City Manager Brian Cook.
Thank you, Mayor Mann and members of the council. Before you tonight is just a discussion regarding some of your meeting schedules throughout the year. As you know, there are some light council meetings and council meetings that bleed into holiday schedules. So one of the things that is very common for cities throughout LA County and throughout the state, county of Los Angeles otherwise, is for some meetings to go dark throughout the year. That doing that in advance gives the community enough heads up, you enough heads up, staff enough heads up that they can go ahead and schedule whatever is important in terms of items. We provided you with some documents in terms of some schedules that you may want to consider. Holiday times tend to be a time where people are, scheduling family time or other times, but also these tend to be the days or the meetings where, unless we have something absolutely pending or immediate, we usually have light meetings. And even if we do cancel that meeting, say we schedule cancel a meeting for next year would be July 2nd, falling before the July 4th meeting. We can always schedule a special meeting as well, depending on the action, if something is absolutely pending as well and something comes up and cannot be taken care of by the next meeting after that. The other thing we do every meeting also too is we pay our bills, we pay the warrants. What we would do for meetings that we know ahead of time that the council said we are going dark on, is that we would have essentially a continuing appropriation item, which would allow us to, myself and the city treasurer and administrative services director, to essentially cut the checks for that period of time, and they would come back to you at the next council meeting to essentially reaffirm, and you are approving them there, but you're approving them after the fact, but it still goes through the same exact process, but there's not a delay for our vendors or anybody else to get paid. So the general idea, again, this is not an uncommon practice for most jurisdictions throughout the state of California. We've presented you with some of the holiday times that make some sense, but the council is not restricted from picking other council dates and times throughout the year that make some sense to go dark. So again, we leave it to your discussion to have that. And have any questions?
I do have one quick question. If you could remind us what the lead time is for posting the agenda?
So the lead time technically
For
is,
public
under the Brown Act, is 72 hours. So
Okay.
for our Tuesday meetings, we generally try to get that posted agenda by Wednesday evening, but we technically have until that Friday evening to post. But we usually like to do it ahead of time, both for the council's ability to read the agenda, absorb, get any questions that you may have, and also too for transparency to the public as well.
And isn't there a special, a different time for special meetings?
The
It starts 72 hours or not?
Thank you, City Attorney. 24 hours for special meetings.
So if, for example, if one of the meetings we designated as being dark, and we decide, well, we actually need to meet,
Yes.
we would call a special meeting, we wouldn't just put it back on as a regular council meeting.
That's
Or
correct.
we could if we give 72 hours notice, I'm assuming. Yeah, so, but we can always do a special meeting with only 24 hours notice.
That's correct.
Okay.
Question though, for special meeting, I suppose that is only for like a single agenda item, not for multiple agenda item, am I right?
It's normally done when you have a single item. You wouldn't want to have kind of the full panoply of things like you had tonight with a large consent calendar. You could certainly do a small consent calendar that would have payment of bills, and then you could handle one or maybe two items. The one thing you can never do at a special meeting is the second reading of an ordinance. That's a legal thing. The other thing you can never do at a special meeting is your executive officer's salary adjustments. Those have to be done at regular meetings. Again, it's the sunshine of it. It's making sure that the public has 72 hours notice of those major things. So you wouldn't just pop a special meeting on unless you had some important matter of business to take care of. And given what we're looking at here, and what the city manager has said about them being lighter times of the year, yes, we would absolutely do one for one key item of business for you to transact, and then probably a short consent calendar.
Any questions from Councilmember Viscara? You have any questions?
It's pretty clear.
Any more, Councilmember Yu?
No, I think
Okay. Councilmember Sternquist, any questions? No.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem?
So I don't have my report in front of me. What are we decided on what dates are you suggesting we go dark?
It is up to you. We suggested some of the holiday time dates, which were, I wouldn't suggest Christmas this year, but maybe January 2nd of 2024, which would,
Is that the date of a regular meeting?
so that would be the date of the regular meeting, July 2nd of
So if
2024.
we don't have a meeting on January 2nd, the next meeting would be when? The
The
16th?
16th.
The 16th.
And that would be the only meeting that month?
That would be the only meeting that month.
Okay. And then what's the other ones?
Yeah.
July 2nd, which
July
is
2nd?
which is the Tuesday before July 4th,
All right.
and November 19th, which is the Tuesday leading up to Thanksgiving.
And actually, that one, technically, based on the way the resolution reads, that one wouldn't work, because the way the resolution reads is it has to be the same week as the holiday. So I'm sorry, I didn't
Oh, I
catch
see.
that when it went through. It's if it's on the same week, because that, again, is a much shorter agenda and much divided attention. So next year, or this year, obviously, it would work. This year, Thanksgiving and your meeting are the same week. Next year, Thanksgiving, due to the way the calendar moves, would roll to a week later.
So the only ones that qualify are January 2nd and July 2nd?
If,
But that, I believe, but that's only if the resolution written that way. We can always change the resolution.
absolutely.
Okay. So it's up to the.
It's up to the council.
Decide which days.
That was just a suggestion on our part of staff, but the council has
So is
the
November
discretion.
19th a yes or no?
For 2024, the way the resolution's written, it would not be, you could cancel it separately, but it would remain on calendar as an anticipated meeting until we got closer. If you wanted to change the resolution to say meeting dates that fall within a calendar week of New Year's Day, 4th of July, Thanksgiving Day, and Christmas Day, then you would know that the closest one to each of those will be canceled. That would be a way to modify the resolution and just have some secure knowledge about which ones you're canceling.
That's easy to remember.
All right. And
Okay, so, again, without the benefit of the report in front of me, is staff recommending 4 dates or 3
Yes.
for next year?
Well,
I would, maybe if I could say something, I think the way the report's written is these are suggestions, not necessarily
No, I know,
recommendations.
Yes.
but what are the suggestions? 4 or 3 or 6 or 10 or?
We had identified some of the major holidays, but again, to Mayor Mann's point, those were just suggestions, not a full recommendation.
but to answer Mayor Pro Tem's point, the staff report suggests 1 this year and 3 next year.
1 this year? What's the
Yeah,
one this year?
December 19th.
Oh, I didn't hear that. I heard
Well-
January 2nd.
Well, I
December what?
think City Manager Cook said 19th probably not going to work,
Yeah.
right?
We,
For this
we,
year.
we may run into some issues based on some of the actions that we take, we may run into some issues for this year's December 19th, but,
Because you have a pending matter on the 19th.
The reason I was asking.
there
for
may
the-
be a pending matter on the
The
19th,
reason I
I'm
was
sorry.
asking for the number is that we basically have 24 meetings a year, correct?
Yes.
And I would be a little reluctant to put 4 cancellations on the calendar, let's say. That's, to me, 4 out of 24 seems a bit much. Maybe a couple? 2, maybe 3, maybe, out of the 24, but I don't know, I think 4 or 5 is kind of pushing it a little bit, at least in my mind.
I can tell you that the other 2 cities that I work with each cancel regularly 3 a year. It's different for each of them. One of them has meetings on 2nd and 4th Thursdays. So they always cancel the 4th Thursday in November because that's always Thanksgiving Day. They also always cancel their closest meeting to Christmas Day because staff is kind of winding down. They have started canceling their closest meeting to July 4th, both because it's, again, a busy travel time. It's also after the budget's been adopted, and so between the work schedule and schedule for staff and for council members, knowing that that will be an off time, it kind of has made sense to them. So if you wanted to do 3, those 3 seem to work. The other city has meetings on Mondays, so they regularly cancel President's Day. They regularly cancel Labor Day. And then sometimes they'll cancel Martin Luther King Day, sometimes they'll cancel January 1st, depending on when the holiday is held. So really, a lot of it has to do with your meeting night, the flow of work, and also for the 5 of you, what you feel an appropriate number and timing is. That's the best advice I can give from what else is out there.
All right, so before we roll into discussion, I do want to make sure to be able to open the public comment, but does council have any other questions before we open the public comment? Okay, all right, then I will open up the public comment. Is there anyone who wishes to address council on this agenda item? All right, seeing none, I will close the public comment, and we move into council discussion. Tonight we'll start with Councilmember Viscara. Do you have any comments or questions?
I really don't have a feeling about it. I know in the past, I've had experiences where everything seems to start bunching up around the holidays, and the more free time I can get, or the family can get really, the better. And I think that could be a consideration for us. So I don't know how the rest of you feel.
You're gonna find out in a minute.
I'll hold my breath.
We just
Yeah,
did this
yeah,
same calendar adjustment at Foothill Transit, and we canceled actually 5 meetings out of the year.
Who's that?
Foothill Transit,
Oh,
you got
5
the
meetings.
message,
Yeah.
yeah.
Also, so that kind of maybe falls in line with the suggestion for the November one, because that's closer to Thanksgiving. Okay,
I would think so.
all right. Okay, thank you. Councilmember Yu?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't see any issue with canceling. As a matter of fact, I've been on a council for quite some time, and I'm actually always surprised how many meetings we have. And there were times when our meetings were really fairly routine and really didn't have a whole lot of matters. It is like the city attorney said, it's not unusual for municipalities to have a few days in the year. It helps the legislative body to plan ahead, helps staff to plan ahead, help the public to plan ahead. I do not see it being a hindrance on doing our business because we always have a lot of special meetings. For example, we'll meet again tomorrow, even though we had our meeting tonight. We always have. Actually, I don't even know how many special meetings we have a year, but we seem to have quite a few. So I'm not really worried about things are not being taken care of it in a timely manner. However, there are many presidents of municipalities having planned ahead meetings dark a year. For example, even the county. The county had canceled 4 meetings last year. 4. Typically, they
Did
were
they cancel those ahead of time or
Ahead of time.
as they came?
most of the time it's like 2-3 weeks.
before, also over again,
Yeah. I think last year they canceled. This year we canceled 2 meetings in August, and then I think we haven't heard about these 7 meetings yet, but we're fully expecting perhaps 1 might be canceled. I just think it's healthy for staff to be able to not attend these, or for that matter, public, to have to attend a council meeting right before a major holidays. I do not see it as a hindrance. I think it just helps to give everybody a little time to enjoy the seasons. It's just a matter of pre-planning. And I actually think that on the note of whether it needs to be that week, I don't think we need to be, in my opinion, I don't think we need to be that rigid. I would be quite okay with canceling 3 next year, to decide on that, and then we can see how that goes, and we can adjust from there. Thank you.
Can I just tag on?
Yeah, sure.
Because that got me thinking, and what Mayor Pro Tem said too, we always have the ability to set up a special meeting. So we have that to fall back on. And so I think we can schedule as many off as we need to, knowing full well that if something comes up, Mr. Cook will let us know and schedule a special meeting.
Okay.
That's my view.
All right. So I guess while you two are still talking, then in that same vein, what do you think of the dates being proposed? Because right now, what's before us does not extend all the way to Christmas of next year. I mean, I know we're not at Christmas this year either. But what I'm hearing from the city manager is in all likelihood, December 19th seems like a meeting that you're suggesting we should keep.
No, that's for, I thought that was for this year.
That's for this year, right?
Sorry,
Yeah.
there may be some, there may be an item
So-
there, I don't want to preclude that.
So
Next
may-
year, it's on December 19th.
Nine-
No, wait, December 17th.
17th.
17th next
Yeah.
year.
So I mean, as a council, do you want to look that far ahead for the entire calendar year next year? Or do you want to keep with the dates?
In my
suggested?
opinion, Mayor, is that those all three dates are good. Well, three suggested dates by the city manager are good. January 2nd, July 2nd, November 19th are fine for me for next year.
Okay. And same with you?
I agree.
Okay. Councilmember Sternquist?
Same thing, I
Same
agree.
thing? Mayor Pro
I
Tem?
don't agree.
You don't agree? Sure.
Oh, what a surprise.
Well, like I said, I mean, first of all, I like coming to the meetings, to be honest with you. I hate to say that, but I do. I don't find it a problem at all. But I'm looking at next year's calendar, and I'm okay with January 2nd and July 2nd. Those make a lot of sense because they're right before the holiday. November 19th, December 17th, that's like 10 days before the actual holiday that we're concerned about. I mean, obviously, I guess people will say, well, yeah, but then I can go on vacation, whatever, but, I mean, you can always go on vacation, but I don't see the pressing need necessarily to at least now cancel the meeting on November 19th and December 17th. First of all, that's 2 months in a row that we would only have one meeting in November and December. I guess if push came to shove, I would be okay with maybe one cancellation out of those possible 4 meetings, but to cancel 50% of the meetings over the last 2 months of the year seems a little bit over much for me.
So you'd still have the opportunity to have a special meeting.
Well, I understand that, but we're not talking about, you can always do that, but I'm just saying,
But
I don't know why we would want to just put that on the calendar. as a
Mayor
matter
Pro
of-
Tem, I just want to hear it correctly. So November 19th,
November 19th.
are you
Would-
okay with that, the 24th?
Well, actually, I would be more inclined to cancel December 17th because of the
Christmas.
holiday, Christmas holiday and the Christmas season, rather than the one in November 19th. I just have a hard time canceling 2 of the 4 meetings that are currently scheduled for November and December. Like I said, you know, to have 24 meetings a year, and for me, canceling 4 of them just seems to be a little much. And correct me if I'm wrong, but if we get to November and December and we know that there isn't much to put on an agenda, we can always cancel then, can't we?
You can.
All right, so I guess I understand the philosophy of trying to schedule ahead so people know,
Yes.
but then this only affects the 5 of us and you two. Doesn't affect staff or anything like that
Well,
necessarily.
it does affect staff in terms of preparation of agendas and everything else that's coming
Well, but they're
up.
gonna be at work anyway, right? I
Well,
mean,
they still have to attend our meetings, though.
they don't attend our meetings.
Depending on the item.
Well, yeah, okay, well,
Well, they're
I'm
here.
looking out there and we have 1 staff member here tonight,
Well,
so
who would make the decision to cancel the meeting, Brian?
we would.
No, I can't. That's up to the council.
So we
Yeah.
would have to meet to do that.
Wait,
Well, yeah, but you can
Anyway.
meet anytime. You
Well,
could
that's
do that 2 months ahead of time.
So what you might have is, if the workflow, if next October, the city manager is viewing the workflow and seeing that December looks like a time to take off, he could simply put an item on consent, canceling the second regular meeting in December, and authorizing the payment of bills with the bills to be ratified at your next meeting.
And then we would approve it.
And then you would
Okay,
approve that, just, it would just be a natural consent
Yeah,
item.
Yeah, like I said, I'm perfectly fine with 3. I think that's a good amount, but I think having 4 off days and especially having 2 of those off days 2 months in a row, I think is maybe a little overambitious.
Well, we could take a vote on it.
Well, I mean, tonight, that's just my opinion. You guys, obviously, we vote on this tonight.
Doesn't matter.
I don't,
but that's
you know,
not,
and it won't upset me if I'm in the minority. I'm just
Yeah.
telling you my opinion of it, though. That's okay.
So Mayor Pro Tem, I think what we're hearing is you would be okay if we suggested canceling January, July, and December?
January 2nd, July 2nd,
And
and, yeah, December
December
17th. 'Cause
17th.
To me, it seems like that's more of a busier time of the year, especially with the holidays. And if we're talking about staff and everybody else, that would be a good time to maybe slow down a little bit.
Which ones are you suggesting?
I would suggest January 2nd, July 2nd, and December 17th.
And then with Brian being able to
Yeah,
put it on the
I-
consent calendar, if we
Right.
needed to cancel,
Tuesday
right?
We need to cancel November, you mean?
No, if there was a.
No, we can cancel December 17th. I'm okay with that now.
Okay.
That's fine. I just had a hard time with canceling
Two back-to-back
two back-to-back
months.
months.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
If it was, and again, if somebody had a good reason to say, well, let's take off in August, I probably, my argument would go away probably because it's kind of further apart. But I just think two off days in 2 months is a lot.
It's funny, but overwhelmingly, everybody on that executive board decided to cancel August.
Well, a lot of people go
Yeah,
away for
August.
vacation
Oh.
and stuff.
They
Yeah,
would rather
August.
met in December than in August.
Well,
Oh,
August
that's
is a
interesting.
vacation month,
I
that's
guess.
nice.
Yeah, same with the county. August was the
Yeah.
month. they
But keep in
canceled.
mind too, I mean, we've in the past, including myself, have missed meetings because of other commitments or whatever. And things go on, and as
And you
long
can
as we
call
have.
in.
Yeah, you can always call, I mean, there are ways around that, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, to put it in writing right now, I would be more comfortable with the 3 rather than the 4. And if one had to fall away, I would say let's keep the November 19th meeting. And again, if we get to October or something and it looks like, it doesn't look like much is going on, we could always do that.
Right.
I'm just curious, why did this become an issue now?
I don't know, because we've never taken time off.
I've gotten some feedback, just general feedback that, that this was something to do, especially the feedback I've gotten from the last few council meetings as well, where we just didn't have a lot on the agenda and.
Well,
I couldn't-
the ones that make a lot of sense for me right now is January 2nd and July 2nd, because those are like right there. I mean, and a lot of people maybe go away for the holidays,
Or they're exhausted.
or they're exhausted.
Especially the January 2nd one.
Yeah, January
Yeah.
2nd, of course, yeah.
That one.
So-
But let me ask you this, do we don't cancel a council meeting because of the election, though, do we?
On election dates, and this will happen both in March and in November, because it's anytime there's an election being held
It's the
in the
day
city,
after.
you move to Wednesday, yes, sir.
Okay, all
You
right,
move
so
to
we don't
Wednesday.
cancel that meeting,
Those
we
won't
just
be
move it
canceled.
to another day.
So then, it sounds like what I'm hearing is instead of a resolution adopting kind of a farther-looking policy, maybe we just want the resolution to say, city council regular meeting dates that fall on January 2nd, 2024, July 2nd, 2024, and December 17th, 2024 are canceled, and then go into the rest of it. Should urgent city business arise, a special meeting can be called.
And then
And just
we-
make this a one-year thing, and
And
you
we'll
can test
revisit
it.
it next year to see how it's working or what
We-
worked, what
We
didn't.
need a motion for that, Craig?
A motion as I've just amended it.
I'll make
Mayor,
the
no,
motion.
no,
Wait,
Mayor.
William wants to say.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, it was interesting hearing everyone's thoughts on this. It might sound strange, but when I first looked at this report, I was inclined to not cancel any meetings at all.
I'm with you.
So, but after hearing everyone talk about this, and I can understand the logic behind it, especially Councilmember your point about it gives a way to kind of pre-plan and for staff to also look ahead. But I do want to say that this, in essence, we're putting some responsibility on our city manager for making sure that we get all of our important business items done in a timely manner, because we're essentially compressing the council's schedule. Granted, we have the special meeting option, but again, special meetings, we've been doing special meetings all along without having to pre-plan ahead anyway, so I never really saw that as a hindrance to this. And to your earlier point, I think the city manager mentioned every once in a while we do have a council meeting that's very light on the agenda, but perhaps that's something moving forward. I mean, that's something we can make a decision on leading up to it. I think for council, we would depend on a lot of your feedback as to whether you're expecting a light business item,
Right.
and we can make a decision on those. But hearing everyone's feedback, I'm actually okay with what's being suggested for this resolution, so I have no concerns about that. Yeah, Councilmember Viscara.
Just a question. Is the experience we had this year abnormal in the number of special meetings we had? It seemed to me like we had a lot
You
of
think
special
so?
meetings.
I don't know. I don't think we had any more than we usually do.
I think because of some of the special items that we had, the playgrounds, Las Tunas, and a few other, for lack of a better term, big ticket items that we wanted to concentrate some time on, especially the time that the ad hoc or the standing committee meetings took with that. I think we had maybe a little bit more, and they maybe have been a little bit longer too as well.
Yeah, so especially, coming out of COVID with the ARPA funding being a large injection of money that we as a city otherwise would never have even had access to, all of a sudden we were able to do a lot more. So hence
That
the,
affected things.
yeah.
Good meeting.
Yeah. But also at the same time, at least what I've observed is sometimes our meetings are feast or famine, right? It's like we would have like really loaded meetings, and then there'd be one meeting where it's just be consent calendar and we're done. So I mean, I have nothing more to say. I'm supportive of what I'm hearing from the rest of the council about those days. If anyone would like to make a motion or have further comments
Well,
on
I
this matter.
think motion that,
Yeah, for
So yeah, the motion would be to adopt resolution number 23-5710 as amended to read that the meeting dates that will be canceled are January 2nd, 2024, July 2nd, 2024, and December 17th, 2024.
And I'll make that motion as Greg read it.
okay.
Second.
Okay. There's a motion and a second. Can we get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Sternquist?
Yes?
Councilmember Viscara?
Yes.
Councilmember Yu?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Chavez?
Yes.
Mayor Mann?
Yes. All right, so motion carries unanimously. Next, we'll move on to our update from our city manager, Mr. Cook.
Thank you, Mayor Mann, and members of the council. If it's okay with the council, I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Matsumoto to give a little bit of a briefing on some of the exciting stuff that's happening in parks,
Sounds
events, and some other of our projects.
good. Director Matsumoto.
Thank you, City Manager Cook. Good evening, Mayor Mann and members of the City Council. So, for those of you that were able to attend our Halloween Carnival last week, we had a really fantastic turnout. Seems like since we've come back in person from the pandemic, it keeps on growing. We handed out over 45,000 pieces of candy over the course of a 3-hour event. It's really, I think part of the reason why we just attract such large numbers, one is the price is right. It's a free event for all of our community members. And a lot of communities do their events on the weekends, but we still traditionally hold it on Halloween evening. So, it is a big draw for not only Temple City residents, but our surrounding community. Coming up this weekend, we have our Veterans Day celebration. So that's going to be on Saturday, November 11th. The event begins at 10:30 a.m. We'll have our traditional flyover of the event. Our invocation will be done by Paul Messiska from First Baptist. And then our keynote speaker is James E. Patterson. He was actually our invocation speaker at last year's Veterans Day event. He's a U.S. Air Force Airman First Class, so he'll be our keynote speaker for the event. We also got up our field of flags for recognition of all of our veterans and those in military service. So that's up at Temple City Park and will remain up through Veterans Day and the following week. We also have some updates. Our Primrose Park project, one of the last pieces of that park is the finalizing of our public art. So we've been working with our tile muralist on getting that completed. We have our final inspection scheduled for next week. We're looking at installation at the end of November, and we'll be getting out invitations to all the council for an unveiling tentatively on Saturday, December 9th. So we're looking at doing that. So it's not quite set in stone yet, but we'll be getting that out to all of our council members to be a part of that. So we're going to partner that with a community plant day. There's some filling in of planting that we need to do at the park. So we're really looking to bring out all of different community groups to be a part of that. And then the culmination of that planting day would be the unveiling of our artwork. So that's going to be the Tao mural as well as our bronze statues that are right out in front of that Tao mural. So we're looking at doing that in the beginning of December. And then finally, some quick updates on really one of our big projects for this upcoming year is our playground renovation project. We were able to submit the order for the playgrounds, and we did receive our ship dates for those. For Temple City Park, we have a ship date delivery in April of 2024. And then for Live Oak Park, it's going to be in September of 2024. So what that means is we are looking at least right now, our timeline is still intact of being able to break ground for Temple City Park in March of 2024. And then for the Live Oak Park in early summer, breaking ground over there. So right now we're working on preparing all of our construction documents for the bid package that we're hoping to get out December, January. So we do have a agreement in place with the contractor to break ground starting in March, first at Temple City Park and then early summer for Live Oak Park. So we're excited about that. That would conclude my report unless...
How about any update on Lights on Temple City?
Sure. Lights on Temple City is going to be on Friday, December 1st. The first happens to fall on Friday this year. The event starts at 5 o'clock. We do have the parade starting at 7 o'clock. So again, we'll have the invitations out to all of our council.
Have we reserved the vehicles?
So we are working through Enterprise, through their corporate arm, to be able to secure that so we don't have to send individual staff out with credit cards to sign off on the rental of the
Or even getting
vehicle.
them. Didn't last year we lost them at the last second?
We
'Cause-
did. I had spoken directly with the, I guess, most local enterprise that could potentially fulfill that order. So that's out in Monrovia. I spoke with the store manager, and he said we can get it done through the corporate process. So regardless of that, we will have vehicles. There will be no golf carts as part of this year's Lights on TC.
Fernando liked them.
Golf
huh?
carts.
Didn't
I
you?
did too.
Fernando, you were okay with the golf carts, right?
He's gonna bring golf clubs too.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
that's
were
good.
we're
We
looking
can
for-
set up a
I
holiday
noticed
pitting.
that I noticed that the city staff was testing the lights out already.
We do that in November,
Okay,
so
they're all good to go.
we are. We had to swap out some outlets. One of our timers was just shorted out, but we do that beginning in November, so we can make sure that we have all of that in place for the event.
Adam, are we going to have the, I lost my train of thought now. The businesses and the residential contests?
The holiday decorating contest, yes. So the holiday decorating contest is going on as we have done in the past. Again, it's a busy calendar for everybody, so maybe we'll do that all as one invite so we can show all the different upcoming dates and requests for the council's attendance if available. But we're going to be doing the judging for the holiday decorating contest. So that's for both homes and businesses as part of the holiday decorating season. That's going to be on the evenings of December 12th, which is a Tuesday, and December 13th, which is a Wednesday. So that's the second week of December, so it doesn't fall on a council meeting
So
night.
we'll be advertising it like December 1st or so?
We're going to be having the street banner up. We'll be getting out on social media the first week of December that basically if you want to participate, no application is necessary. You just have to have your lights on the evenings of December 12th and 13th, and we will be canvassing the entire city. So
It's much easier than when they had to fill out an application.
Right, and there's so many wonderful homes, and usually by mid-December, everybody's already has their decorations up. So we're looking at
By December, they've been up for a month already. I think, Karen.
Oh, prior to Halloween when we were shopping,
They never took them
I guess
down.
holiday decorations start showing up in stores all the way in October.
By the way, we have never changed whatever we voted on that Fernando had brought forth to leave the lights on during the pandemic
Year-round.
year-round.
Did we?
So,
we
I
didn't-
mean, I guess technically, people can leave them
Well,
up
we didn't, I
year-round.
don't think, did we change the ordinance on that, or I forget?
I don't recall,
No,
but
we did, I
I
don't,
thought we
It was
voted on
it was a
it.
I
resolution.
think it was just a
Was a
It was a
resolution,
resolution.
temporary
Yeah.
resolution, I think.
Okay.
With no ending date, right?
It terminated, my understanding.
I haven't seen it as a problem throughout the city, though, have you? I mean, people do have lights up,
I
but.
think I have a few
Oh, yeah.
lights underneath my eave that might need to come down.
We can always double check and verify the resolution.
I think it's very festive. I'm not offended by people leaving their lights on all year round. Why is that a
You know, a lot of
problem?
people basically have left lights, some of the lights on as more of a deterrent to burglaries and things like that, which really have no problem with. I think it was mostly our concern was all the yard,
Santa
or the
yard
yards, the
things,
Santa
right?
Clauses, the snowman out there all
I think the lights
year
are
round.
okay.
I mean, but having lights on underneath the eaves, things like that, I don't think that offends anybody, to be honest with you, but anyway.
One last thank you, Mr. Matsumoto.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you.
One last update, the monument sign that was constructed, Arcadia has actually come back to us and asked us they want to reconfigure the median there with some bollards and other things to prevent anything at their costs. So they're working on that, having that done by January of next year so that we'll have the monument sign, but they've had multiple incidents on that median, so they're actually doing some safety and some bollards on that.
And a
Is that in-
bollard is like a pole, but are these gonna be, have they said cement ones, or?
They're going to do
Plastic
some
ones,
cement
or-
and some uplighting as well, so they're gonna do a few other improvements as well. So it's both a safety and kind of a beautification improvement as well.
Does that include the light on Live Oak?
The light on Live Oak.
Yeah, remember, we're gonna change it to the blinking
No,
yellow?
no, it does not, Councilmember.
That's not part of it.
No, sir.
I think that's a different intersection.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
you're talking about the monument sign.
The monument sign that's shared between
Baldwin.
Arcadia and Temple City at the corner of Las Tunas and
Baldwin.
Baldwin.
Baldwin, okay.
But it's actually in Arcadia, though, I think.
Yeah, we're smidge away from the border.
We get to see the design.
Yeah.
Perhaps comment on it before they finalize it.
It has been fabricated. I can get some.
I know, I don't mean the
Oh,
sign,
oh,
I meant
sorry,
the
yeah.
bollards, that kind of got my
yes.
interest up, whether it's just a pipe baller or, anything.
Absolutely.
more
We'll
decorative.
we'll get those designs from them, and
Yeah.
I'll send that to the council.
You know-
and we'll give them some feedback.
Pasadena is famous for putting up those bollards. They've decided now to put up a lot of the plastic white ones all over the place.
No,
And I hope they're not gonna be like that.
no.
Um,
We work well with our colleagues in Arcadia and our city engineer counterpart there, and their public works team. So we'll work with something that's aesthetically pleasing.
The only problem I have with bollards is it just gives motorists another target. I mean, so they don't hit the sign, they hit the bollards.
I've hit two with brand new cars.
Yeah,
Backed right
and in
into
fact, it kind of creates more, to me, more of a hazardous condition than the sign itself. But, I mean, if they think it's gonna cause safety, I mean, who am I to argue? As long as they pay for them, but, I agree with Vince, I think we should at least see what they look like first.
No, absolutely, for sure. That's it for us, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Next, update from our city attorney.
None tonight, sir.
Thank you. Next, council reports regarding ad hoc or standing committee meetings. Do we have any reports?
We do a standing committee
For
meeting.
the-
Want me to start on that?
Sure.
Okay.
The school
Thank you.
district.
Mayor Mann and I met with the committee members from the school district, our standing committee. We met on October 26th. A few items of discussion. We gave an update on the Temple City Park and Live Oak Park playground renovations, provided them with some of the examples that we saw in council, and they were very pleased and very excited about it as well. We did give an update on the homeless issues that face Temple City or have continued to face Temple City. It appears, if I remember from my notes, that they don't seem, at least the school district doesn't seem to be experiencing as much of a problem as they may have in the past, although occasionally they do have issues. But City Manager Cook did provide an update as to what actions we're taking from the city standpoint and the sheriff as well. We were given an update on the high school field renovation. Some of you may be aware that the high school is going to be renovating the football field. New track and field and new stands are going to go in. I believe that the work is to begin in late May after next year's graduation. And then we'll continue on for at least the next year. I believe the graduation ceremony in 2025 will have to be held somewhere else because of the construction. And they although they didn't get specific, they were asking if the city could be of help, perhaps in the use of fields for practice and things like that. So I think City Manager Cook is going to meet with them, or staff will meet with them to try to work out some details while they don't have the fields available. They're also going to need to find a field, obviously, to play their games, or they'll be playing all of their games next year on the road, I believe. So that should be quite an interesting season. Also, we gave a report on the Hualien County Sister City Delegation, and Mayor Mann, if you don't mind, maybe letting the council, I know you had talked about it before, but maybe shed some more light on what's happening there.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Yeah, we also shared that our sister city from Hualien County will be coming to visit us during the Camellia Festival celebration. So we don't have a lot of details right now, just sort of they let us know that they would love to join us. The last time they did was right before COVID, right before the shutdown, February of 2020. If you recall, they sent a delegation of high school students to join the parade and share their I guess, traditional dance. I can't think of the word right now. Yeah, so, but the school district was actually particularly interested in seeing if we can find a way to maybe connect them with some of their, I guess, their education department, since all along the conversation had always been centered around doing something similar to the sister city delegation with Hawkesbury, Australia, although this one might be a little different. And also maybe this kind of dovetails a little bit to one of the things that the school district reported back to us was their current, they're about to implement a dual language immersion program in the district beginning the next school year. And the superintendent did share with us that when they sent out the survey to a lot of parents in the school district, that it seemed like the largest interest was in dual language with Mandarin Chinese. And so they were kind of, Dr. Kuna, the superintendent, had some ideas about, is there maybe an avenue to tap into from Taiwan to maybe help with that program in some shape or form. So we'll try to see if we can help them facilitate that discussion or meeting when they are here.
Okay. And one last thing, I had asked about remember we had discussed a little briefly about the school wanting to get a resource officer on campus, and they're still working on that. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that they're in the process of surveying the parents and to see how they feel about that item, and more to follow, but that's something that will probably come up next year as well. So, and I don't think I have anything else. Did you have anything else? The joint use agreement. Staff's currently working on that. Hopefully, we should have some more information sooner than later on that joint use agreement with the school district. Fernando, I know, remembers we used to always have joint use agreements with the school district, and remember that kind of fell to the wayside, but I think staff and we've been working on that, and hopefully we should have more news on that shortly. So.
It was always contentious, too.
Yeah, but, you know, it's gotten better. I would say, and I think having these regular meetings certainly has created a good atmosphere, I think, between, not that we had a bad one over the last, I think we've had a pretty good relationship over the last few years, although it did get away from us, I think, for a while there, but that was just because of, I think, the makeup of the boards. But we've got a good relationship. I know that City Manager Cook and Dr. Kuna have a good working relationship as well, and things seem to be going well. So that's always good.
I want to second that. I think a lot of credit to our city manager, Cook, and the superintendent for having open lines of communication. I think that's been tremendous in the progress we've made with the school district. And of course, our colleagues on the school board have been very collaborative and very open with us. So I second the fact that we set these meetings like clockwork, right? So
Yeah, our next meeting is actually going to be January 25th.
yeah, and I think that's part of it, is just reminding everyone that this is a commitment from both bodies to our community, that this is an important relationship that we want to nurture and foster and grow. So we hope, because we always say we're saving the same constituents, so why not work together on these? Well, Mayor Pro Tem, thank you for covering the bulk of the
Thank
meeting
you.
report. So, all right, next we'll move on to council items separate from the city manager's regular agenda. We'll start over here with Councilmember Viscara.
Just a couple of side comments. I don't have anything in particular, but true to form, you guys tonight stayed with everybody voting the same. Right? Last time I brought up the fact that since I've been back, you guys haven't disagreed on anything.
No, we start
You're
out
being
that
true
way,
to form.
but by the end, we're back together.
That's right. And the other thing, the immersion program you were talking about, my granddaughter came up through that. She's 16 now, and she's fluent in Mandarin.
Oh, no kidding.
And she's a
Really?
little, what we call güerita, she's a little blonde girl. And, but she's right on,
Well, that's amazing.
so it works. That's it.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Yu.
Nothing to add tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Sternquist.
Just a couple of things also. I attended Mike Fong's career college fair at the high school. And there were so many colleges. A lot of junior colleges came out. Trade schools came out. There were some four-year universities there also. But it was so well attended, and I think that the school board was very appreciative to have a city council member there attend. But I had the opportunity to see the kids, the high school kids, they're building a solar vehicle, and it was by invitation only, and because of their success in the robotics program, Temple City High School was got an invitation to participate. And there's a competition in Austin, Texas in July. And it was amazing. All the volunteers are parents, they're engineers, they're just a wide variety of professions, and they come every Saturday and they spend the whole day working with these kids, and part of them are welders, and it's all set up so well. But it was really exciting to see, and they are raising funds to help the students get to Austin, Texas to compete. But they had the model vehicle, a sample of it. It was really cool to see. I mean, they're doing such amazing things in our district. But I reached out to Foothill Transit because they, being a transportation agency and this being a vehicle that moves, and we're the forerunner in doing electric and hydrogen with Foothill Transit, so why not get into the solar business also? But I reached out to Foothill Transit, and they are going to do a sponsorship for the kids at the high school. So I'm very excited about that.
That's great. And if you don't mind me jumping in real quick,
No.
I got to the career fair late, but I would agree with you that there were a lot of colleges there represented. And I think I got there around 11, and there was still a lot of kids and parents coming in. And and a board member, Vincent Bell and Donna
Yes, he's in
Giorgino.
charge of that program.
They also showed me the solar car,
Oh, is
and I
it?
talked to some of the kids and the parents there. And what was amazing was, like, to your point, they had parents from, like, one parent was a car mechanic, another was a welder, and so they had, another was an electrical engineer, and so all of them brought their respective expertise into helping teach the kids how to put all this stuff together, which was really incredible.
Yeah, it's really neat. And then, let's see, the other thing was, what is this? Can't even read my own writing right now. The college fair, and then also the sanitation district held a open house, if you will. Brian Cook and I were going to attend, but it landed up being that most of the cities out in the southern section of, towards the beach areas, where was it, Brian, exactly? Carson.
That's where one of their plants is located.
Yes, so it was Carson that was having the opening, but I sent all of you
Oh,
that
it wasn't
invitation.
here, it wasn't here at.
It wasn't here.
Oh, okay, yeah, but that was on a Thursday or something like that.
Yeah, it was a
wasn't it?
really
It was-
odd time, but I guess it
Yeah.
was really well attended by people out in, and the state representatives out in the
Mm-hmm.
Carson area. But anyway, I
Are they
was
still-
hoping to
Are they
go.
still doing the boat
They still are
excursions?
doing the boat
during the
excursions.
summer though usually?
They're in August usually.
Okay.
Maybe on the day we cancel the
Yeah.
meeting, we can go.
Doing the what?
They have a
They did
boat trip.
Yeah, they take you out to where the
Oh.
water is actually going to the ocean.
Yeah, the
And then
float.
they pull up fish and to show you, hey, see, it's safe. You know, for what they do as far as they clean it before it gets there, but.
But
Yeah,
it
it's
goes
just
out pretty far.
It does, I mean.
Yeah, you get
and
seasick if
you
you're.
If you're prone to seasickness, you better take some pills, because they go out pretty far, yeah. Yeah,
But
it's-
if any of you
it's
would
neat,
like
though.
to go on a tour to Carson, just let me know and
Yeah,
you
they-
can go
yeah,
anytime.
and they do, and I don't know if they still do it, they do a tour of all three facilities. They do the one in City of Industry,
Mm-hmm.
and they go to Carson, and there was one more I think I forget they go to, but it's pretty interesting. Of what you don't think of it, of what happens to your water once it goes down the drain. It's pretty interesting as to how it gets to the end line.
Well, I think the thing that amazed me the most was that we had one of the specialists come and talk to us, and he told us that by testing the water from the sewers, they can really see what type of viruses.
Yeah, they can
and
tell if COVID's up high.
COVID is in an area. I just find that so interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah. But
good stuff.
that's it. Thank you.
Council member,
Yes.
what about the mosquitoes? Are we done with them for the year?
As soon as the weather gets cooler, the risk becomes lower, but we're never really done with them. They become more dormant than ever. But as soon as the weather goes up, we've had warm weather and now today was a little bit cooler, but still really be mindful of, getting rid of standing water daily if you have it, and making sure that your property doesn't have any containers that even a teaspoon of water can do much.
Do they ever talk about how some people seem to be more prone to mosquito bites than others? Because, like, Jane, she'll get 100 mosquito bites, I won't get one. And I know a lot of people are like that. It seems like
Maybe it's something in
the
the
smell of the
blood.
skin or something, I don't know.
I
but-
can attest to that.
Yeah.
Mosquito likes me.
Greg
too.
has the most rare blood in the world. He has AB negative.
So they don't like him?
They love him.
Oh, they love him.
Oh,
They love him, but I have O negative, and I go outside and
Oh, you're
I
negative?
never
All
get
right.
bit.
I haven't gotten a mosquito bite for years, I don't think.
Yeah. But with that question also, you can have 100 people get bit, and out of that 100, maybe only one can get West Nile virus.
Oh.
So it's just, there's really no rhyme or reason as to who gets it and who doesn't. So just use protectant.
Spray. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Chavez?
Yeah, just a couple of quick things. Just a question, what is our street banner policy out here? I mean, the reason I ask is that we've got a banner out there, I don't know if it's still up there, but it was up there yesterday, of an event that happened like 10 days ago.
We try to get them down as quickly as we
Like-
can. We were a little short-staffed, so.
Oh, okay, but is it, do they
We-
take it down or we take it down?
We'll take them down.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
we issue a permit, they pay a fee, and we take them down.
So we just have to get around to it?
Yeah.
Because, because I noticed that, well, that event was a long time ago, I don't want, all right, I just thought I'd ask, no big deal, I know.
No problem.
All right. We talked about the sister city, and I know Councilmember Sternquist asked about the sister city program in Hawkesbury, Australia. It actually, and I don't know if I mentioned before, it is back up and running. In fact, we just had a kickoff kind of potluck for the committee members to kind of get everything going again. We have received applications for this year's group that will be going next year in 2024. We have the interviews, I believe it's next Monday. Yeah, next Monday night. And then the following Saturday, a week from this Saturday, we'll be doing no, take it back. We have a workshop on Monday night, and then the interviews with the families next Saturday morning. And so we'll be selecting the students that will be going to the Hawkesbury next year. And then next year, they will also be sending a contingent here from the Hawkesbury. So excited about getting that program up and running again, and obviously working with Hualien County to see how we can develop that program as well. So
Tom, when do we put in for funding for that from the city? Do you remember?
that was already in this year's budget, I believe.
Yes,
Is
we
it?
do
Oh,
it through the
so you
budget
don't
cycle.
have to.
Yeah, that's already part of it. Yeah, we got that in because we knew they were coming back. So it hadn't been in the year before, though, or the last couple of years. Also, just I want to thank Mayor Mann and City Manager Cook for attending our first youth committee meeting was it last Thursday, Peggy? Or my time came last Thursday. Yeah, and they did a really good job. I think it was nice, Mayor Mann, to point out that he was very impressed with the fact that that was their first meeting, and they look like veterans up here, which is a good thing. They've been watching something, I guess. But they did a good job, and we're excited about their upcoming agenda and hope to have some reports to them in the very near future as to what they're doing and how they're doing it. So,
Tom,
That's a
maybe
good
we
group.
could do a junior youth committee also.
a junior youth committee, what do you
With
mean?
just like 6th, 7th, and 8th grade
Oh,
kids
well,
from
we
the
could,
junior
but
high.
we'll have to find somebody who's willing to take that on. I shout out to Peggy, and, since Jillian has left, Peggy is left with that duty on her own, and she's doing a fantastic job of keeping these. Can you imagine having 10 young teenagers to corral and keep in place? Well, Peggy does a great job of doing that, so.
And I'm told Peggy I'm
Yeah,
available to
yeah, you're
help.
available. So also, just as a heads up, as you know, we always do our, what do we call it, Friendsmas party, where in December, we have a party to invite a lot of the old graduating students to come back, and of
So
course, all the
nice.
council members invited to come. You've come before to that, and it's a good event, but we'll let you know when that is. Usually it's during the week in an evening.
Very
But
nice.
it's nice to know that they've built such a, I guess, I don't know if I'd call it a legacy, but the students are excited who have served on the youth committee to now come back and see how it's still going and reacquaint themselves with everybody. And I know they love to see the council members there and have, conversations with them, and they get it's a big deal for them, so.
Some of the youth commissioners are involved in student government
Oh, yeah.
at their high school. Isn't the
Yeah,
student
well,
body
yeah,
president?
Amir King is the
Yeah.
student body liaison, and he's very involved. But yeah, a lot of them have dual roles. There's no question about that. So, well, you should mention your. You probably will. Your trip to the high school with the new club over there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm done.
Oh, you're done?
Yeah, I'm done. Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Chavez. Actually, just maybe to dovetail off of the youth committee meeting, very impressive group of young men and women. They carried themselves with a kind of flair that I just wouldn't expect high schoolers to do. And And also, I was very impressed with I don't know if it was an assignment you and Peggy gave them, but they went to our commission meetings and reported back to the rest of the youth committee.
Yeah, that's part of that's part of their duties every year.
Yeah, but that was really impressive because the way they reported back, it showed me they really did listen, pay attention, and were very deliberate about, understanding what the meeting was about and how that was important.
They learned.
Oh, yeah, it was very clear that they were paying attention and had a lot to say, so.
And
so
it's funny that
very
they
impressed.
all kind of took away something from all the different commissions. It wasn't like, well, this one was better than that one or whatever. They recognize that each commission has a particular job to do and how they do it and the way they do it. And so sometimes you would think that they would come away saying, the planning commission kind of bores me, and it can be sometimes because they're very technical, but they got a lot out of it and they enjoy it. I think a couple of comments were, we didn't realize that all that went through just to get that done, and so it's a good thing for them. I wish we had it when we were kids, but sorry.
Yeah, so I think we're in great hands with this cohort of youth committee members, and I'm really looking forward to see what they're going to be doing this coming year. And as Mayor Pro Tem Chavez mentioned, I did have an opportunity I was invited by a newly formed legal club at Temple City High School to speak at one of their club meetings, which was a pleasure. I mean, I wasn't expecting that many kids. They kind of underestimated the number of students that were there. That must have been like over 30 or 40 kids. And they were very engaged. I'm surprised at how many great questions they asked. They were very locked in, and in fact, they were asking me to maybe reach out to some of you on City Council. I know I've connected them with a Mayor Pro Tem since I mentioned to them that you were a lawyer also, and so they got very excited about that. So hopefully you also get a chance to speak with them in the future. A fantastic group of kids. So that goes to show you just in general how impressed I've been with our school district and the involvement that at the high school level, how involved they are in all aspects of our community here in Temple City. And just one last thing about the Assemblymember Mike Fong's career fair. Also want to mention that I know the board was very appreciative, and Principal Elena Lee from the high school was also very appreciative. They said that just the sheer amount of resources that it would take for them to host something and organize the logistics was a tremendous effort on the Assemblymember Fong's and his staff's behalf to put together.
The only thing I would comment on that, and I don't know who does his outreach, but it seems like whenever I get invited to one of his events, it's like 2 or 3 days before the event. I wish he would just get them out sooner. I mean, I would love to, but I think this one, was it on Saturday, I think?
It was a Saturday, yeah.
And so it's, sometimes tough to get into. I think I'll mention that to Cassie maybe next time I see her.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm
Cassie
sure
would
they
be
know
our-
the date ahead of time, but maybe by the time it reaches us, I don't know. But yeah, it sounded like a great event.
Yeah, and it seemed like, at least based on what the board members and the principal was saying, is that they were suspecting that because it was hosted by the assembly members, so they may have gotten a lot of students and parents coming from outside of Temple City, because he's representing the entire 49th district.
Yeah.
So there could have been, but the more the merrier, right? It's a resource accessible to everyone. So I know we mentioned the Halloween Carnival, so thank you, Director Matsumoto. I just want to say fantastic job. The feedback I got from residents and those who are participating in the trunk or treat, they just said continuous 2+ hours of people just lining up and participating in that. And of course, the jumpers and all the attractions are always a hit. Although, one thing, I think maybe all of you have noticed this before, is sometimes people comment on the fact that over the years, the number of trick-or-treaters in our neighborhoods have kind of gone down, or the households participating in passing out candy has gone down. at least as a parent, what I hear from other parents is a lot of them tend to gravitate towards events that are hosted by cities or even churches that do trunk or treats. And so for them, it's easier to go to one location and hit a lot of candy than go to certain parts of the neighborhood that might not be as active.
And I think they feel safer, I think.
Yes, absolutely.
The safety aspect of it.
Yeah, so there's an inherent trust that, we as a city will create an event that's very safe for the entire family and the kids. So there's a measure of that too. So take it for what it will. I think we've done a fantastic job, so we should continue to do this in the future. There's actually been a lot going on since the last meeting. I do want to mention, and again, congratulate Jafu for their grand opening in Camellia Square, which I know some of us were able to attend. They're located on the second floor of Camellia Square, and they're the first of its kind possibly in the U.S. in terms of, I guess it's almost like it's a tea store, but they focus on the tea tasting and the tea brewing experience. And so for those of you unaware, the owner and manager of Jafu also was the owner and manager of the tea station chain, which we also have in Temple City. And they had been in business for a long time. So it was a successful grand opening. The space is beautiful, as some of us have already seen.
Did he tell you what they charge to use that?
I did not ask.
$3,000 for a month, I think it is.
Membership.
Oh, it's
Is
the
it the membership?
Membership, unlimited tea tasting, and unlimited amount of guests you can bring as long as they fit in the place.
Yeah.
Interesting. But anyways, it's...
Go for $150 and take 10 friends and have an hour and a half tea tasting experience also.
So when you've participated in that, you can report back to us and
I will,
see how
yeah.
it goes. So, anyway, it's great to see our businesses flourishing, and with grand openings, we see that business in Temple City is alive and well. So it was good to see that. I also want to mention that while it is a sad story behind Deputy Klinkenbrummer's murder, but the fundraiser in support of his family that was held right here in Temple City Park was very successful, well attended. We had a lot of law enforcement partners from our surrounding neighborhoods and agencies that came out in full support, and we all had a chance to meet some of our former compadres at Temple Station, like Commander Mark Reyes. I saw, I guess now Detective Chico. So there were a lot of folks that have been a part of our Temple City family who we got to see and reconnect. And my understanding was there were actually multiple fundraisers across the county to support Deputy Klinkenbrummer's family. So that was good to see the community come together for that. Also, I do want to mention, although I know he couldn't make it here to the council meeting tonight, I do want to extend a great thank you and appreciation to Brian Arizumi, our public safety supervisor, who will be moving on to newer opportunities. He won't be too far away, but he has served our city for many, many years and has been a very important part of making Temple City what it is today, especially his passion for public safety. I know he's been an integral part in the growing of our neighborhood watch meetings that have been a great hit. I mean, if you recall back to the very beginning of our neighborhood watch meetings, we didn't get many people. And then at its peak, we've had over 100 plus attendees at some of these meetings. And he's absolutely very passionate about that topic. So I want to thank him for his service to the city and wish him the best in his future endeavors. And then lastly, I'll end on, again, a school note. I know we did report out on our meeting with the standing committee for the school district, but the sports teams at Temple City High has just been on a tear. So I guess I just found out tonight the Temple City High girls volleyball just won their first round state tournament. So they had won the CIF division champion. I think they had like a flawless record, right? And then tonight they just won the first round of their state tournament. They're moving on to the second round. So yeah, keep an eye out for the girls. Absolutely. I wish them. Yeah, we'll keep an eye out for them, and yeah, definitely find a time when they're done with all their competitions to invite them over to one of our meetings.
Months ago, they had a big article in the Times on one of the players on the Temple City volleyball team,
Yes. Yeah.
which highlighted, her career and how she was really very good. I forget what she's going to go to college. But
She's committed to Stanford. Yeah. Taylor Yu. I think that was the name of the player.
Catherine Barber's deputy, Vicki Paul, sent me a text saying, I'm so excited about your girls' team because she played volleyball in high school and in college. So she follows the local teams and how they do. So she said, oh, congratulations to them.
Oh, that's nice of her to say that. Good. Okay. All right. That's all I have, and so we'll move on to the final item, which is additional public comments not listed on the agenda. Is there anyone who would like to address the council? I see Mr. Stafford. Are you moving to the podium? Okay.
Mayor Pro Tempore Chavez, and council members. One thing I didn't mention in the beginning is my street is so bad it's very hard to move the trash cans into the street to pick up. I really think that the way this was done, it wasn't done the way it should have been done. It should have been waited like South Pasadena did till after the pandemic had passed and there were public meetings. Those cans on some streets are too far out where they're going to get hit. And when the trash guy picks them up, he leaves them further out. Arcadia has taken a measure to put them on top of the curb and not have them in the street. And I think that should be done here. There's a lot of streets that are narrow that it just doesn't work. I got a street that's torn up that the street's tearing away from the gutter. Eventually those gutters, the water's going to get underneath the gutters, and those gutters are going to collapse. I think that we need to speed up the repair of these streets. We need to find a program and see if the county has any programs. At one time when I was growing up, the county always maintained the streets, and they were always able to make sure these streets didn't get this bad. This has gotten to the point where, like I said, the streets tearing away from the gutter, and it's just dirt now. There's no pavement. It's very hard to move those cans. And I fell in January moving a can after a rainstorm. And that's why you see me limping and being in a little bit of pain. It's not right. We've waited too long to maintain these streets, and we need to move up the program as soon as possible in my area. The streets are in very bad shape. Secondly, there needs to be a four-way stop at Golden West and Workman. If you don't put a stop there and there's an accident there and somebody is killed and there's been an upsweep of accidents there, you guys could be liable. There's no way you couldn't be. When you know about it, you're liable. You need to fix the street. You need to put a four-way stop there, and there's several other places like La Rosa and Golden West. It's a blind intersection, and the people crossing can't see, and you got no stop for east-west. Same thing at Agnes and La Rosa. It needs to have a four-way stop. And there's other intersections that need four-way stop. They need trees clipped because you can't see traffic. You're going to keep letting this go, and what happened at Broadway, at Baldwin and Live Oak, going to happen somewhere else because you're letting it go. You need to take notice of this and fix the problems. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address the city council at this time? All right, seeing none, then we will close public comment, and we are adjourned for the evening. Have a good night.